Hello. Hi, I'm Christina and welcome to my channel, ChriskaYoga. Today is going to be a bit of a different Monday video. Usually I post a yoga class, either a short yoga class or a longer yoga class on my channel on Mondays. But today is going to be still yoga related, but it's going to be a little bit different. Things will go back to normal once I am ready to finally launch my yoga starter kit program. It has been taking up all of my time and energy, or most of it at least. Been working really hard on it, so the weekly videos have kind of suffered for that. Still putting them up, still getting them up regularly. They'll go back to normal once everything is settled with the yoga starter kit program and I can finally share it with you. But for today, I will be sharing 5 yoga poses that I believe are the most important yoga poses that you will ever need in your yoga practice. This is great for beginners, so if you're just starting out with yoga and you're looking to build a solid foundation for your yoga practice, which is the premise of my entire yoga starter kit program, before we get started, if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button down below the video. I post 2 free yoga classes every single week, plus a bonus video here and there talking about healthy living, conscious living, tips, advice, yoga advice, kind of an overall how to be a yogi on the inside and out, plus the 2 yoga classes that I post every single week. So you definitely want to be subscribed, so hit that subscribe button down below. New York is so noisy. Alright, let's get into these 5 poses. Each pose that I talk about in this video, I will link a tutorial video for that particular pose. So the poses, I can go into depth into each and every one of them, and that would be a very long video. So I'm going to keep this one brief, and I'm going to share with you videos that I have already made on these 5 poses that show you exactly how to do them the right way, the proper way with proper alignment. The first pose that I'm going to be talking about is mountain pose, or Tadasana. This pose seems so simple, but it is the most important yoga pose that you will need to know when practicing yoga, because it is the foundation for every single yoga pose. Every single pose, it might not look like Tadasana, but you are drawing back from your knowledge of how Tadasana, mountain pose, should be. Your body needs to be aligned in this way at all times. So mountain pose is your foundation. It's your number 1. If you don't know how to do mountain pose the right way, the proper way, you will struggle with the rest of the yoga poses. So first and foremost, when you're starting out, or at all, even if you've been doing yoga for a while, I suggest you go back to the basics and learn mountain pose. So mountain pose is number 1 and it is key. The number 2 pose that I'm going to be talking about today is downward facing dog, also known as Adho Mukha Svanasana. So yeah, downward facing dog is probably the most famous yoga pose. Everybody knows downward facing dog, even if they have never stepped foot into a yoga studio in their lives, they know downward facing dog. But the reason for that is because it is practiced a lot. I just received a comment on another video about how there was too much downward facing dog, and I was like, what? There is never enough downward facing dog. Downward facing dog is practiced so often because it is repeated a lot in the sun salutations. And in the Ashtanga, Vinyasa school of thought, the sun salutations are what the yoga classes are kind of based around. So you repeat them over and over and over, and that is why downward dog is done over and over and over. And on this channel and with me and my classes, I am a Vinyasa based teacher. I teach Vinyasa based yoga classes. So downward facing dog is very, very important. You're going to want to learn how to do this pose properly in order to have a successful yoga practice, because if you do it improperly, you could hurt yourself. Just as any other yoga pose, you want to be able to learn how to do downward facing dog in such a way where you don't injure yourself. So learning the proper alignment of downward facing dog and doing it the way that is meant for your body is key. My number 3 pose that I will be talking about in this video is Warrior 2, also known as Virabhadrasana 2. Warrior 2 is a standing pose. It is sort of like a lunge, but your heel, your back heel, is on the ground and your legs are externally rotated. This is a standing pose in external rotation. So there's Warrior 1, which I'm not going to talk about in this video, even though I just did, where it's a standing pose with internal rotations. Warrior 2 is an excellent standing pose for beginners because having your legs externally rotated feels a bit more natural for your body. If you ever notice you're like lying down or something and your legs naturally rotate outward, it doesn't happen for everybody, but it happens for the majority of people. They're just naturally more inclined to have their legs externally rotated over internally rotated or parallel. This one is probably the most natural feeling of the standing poses other than Tadasana, which is basically standing on 2 of your feet. But yes, Warrior 2, super important, and I definitely recommend learning this pose thoroughly. The number 4 yoga pose that I am going to discuss is Child's Pose, also known as Balasana. This pose is a resting pose. It is excellent to come into if you're in a yoga class and you're feeling just like you need a break. This pose can be active as well, and you can have your arms extended and you can have your upper body fully engaged in this pose. Even for some beginners, this pose is not restful at all because your hips don't actually touch your heels, so you can't fully rest, which is why you can always modify with props. You can place pillows and blankets underneath your hips on top of your calves so that it adds some height, so that there is a place to rest your hips on top of. But Child's Pose is a great one to learn how to do correctly because you can always come back to it. If you're struggling, especially in a Vinyasa class or a more active class, you can always come back to Child's Pose to give yourself a moment to come back in. Slow your heart rate down a little bit if it's elevated too much. Child's Pose is a great one for you to know. And finally, my 5th yoga pose that I'm going to be discussing is Shavasana. The English term is corpse pose, and I do not like to say that because it is very morbid sounding, so I just call it Shavasana. Shavasana is very important as well, as are all the poses I've discussed, but Shavasana is amazing. I first started out my yoga classes hating Shavasana. I hated being there for such long periods of time. I could not wait to get out of it. You're basically just lying on the ground with your eyes closed and just focusing on your breath. But that's hard for some people. Some people say that they don't have time for it. Actually, I have seen many times where people leave during Shavasana. They're like, all right, class is over, I'm just gonna leave. No, the class isn't over. Shavasana is important, especially if you're doing a full-on yoga class that is an hour plus. You need to activate that relaxation response in your body. I have spoken about this a number of times in my videos, but it needs to be said over and over again because it is important. You need to activate that relaxation response in your body after working out so that your body has time to recover. Your body and your mind need time to recover in order to stay healthy. I have discussed several different ways to do it alternatively. If you feel uncomfortable in your low back, especially just lying flat on the floor with nothing, there are modifications that you can do. I've made videos on that. Again, I'm leaving all of my tutorial videos for all of the poses that I discussed in this video in the description box below, so be sure to check those out and take the time out to really learn these poses. So Shavasana is super important, not just for beginners, but for everybody, and you should never ever skip it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry it's a little different than my normal videos. I'm in a different place. I've just been really swamped with this yoga starter kit because I want to make it amazing for you, and just I want it to be the best it can possibly be. So that's why the videos are a little different. Side note, sort of side note, not really. The 5 yoga poses I discuss are involved in this yoga starter kit program that I am coming out with very soon, which is a program that will help you build a solid yoga foundation, perfect for yoga beginners, but also perfect for anyone looking to go back to the basics and really build that solid yoga foundation and add yoga into your life in a real sustainable way. So these 5 poses are included in my ebook that is included in the Yoga Starter Kit program, where I show you 45 beginner yoga poses in detail, and I describe them, how to do them the right way so that you can do them correctly and not injure yourself and get the most benefit out of the poses. And I also discuss with you modifications for people who are a little less flexible than you would need to actually do the full expression of the poses, which is totally fine, by the way, because I have been practicing yoga for years and years and years. I've been dancing for years and years and years, and I still am not flexible enough for some of the yoga poses. So modifications using props, I will share all of that with you in this program as well. You will definitely want to stay tuned for that. My feet are falling asleep. Oh my god, I can't feel my foot. So yeah, this Yoga Starter Kit program is coming out soon. It's coming out this month, very, very soon. So to be notified as to when it comes out, I will leave all the information in a link in the description box below and on the screen. So be sure to check all of that out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Leave any questions or comments you might have in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe for 2 free yoga classes every single week on this channel. It is completely free to subscribe, and I would love to have you as a subscriber and as a part of this growing community. We're almost at 5,000 subscribers. I'm so excited, so be sure to hit that subscribe button down below the video. For more yoga from me, more yoga advice, yoga tips, free and premium yoga offerings, visit my website, ChriskaYoga.com. And also be sure to follow me over on Instagram for daily content, daily yoga, motivation, inspirational content that I post there, behind the scenes of this channel and the Insta story, just overall fun. Definitely head over to Instagram and follow me at ChriskaYoga over there as well. Thank you so much. See you next time.
Are you a yoga beginner? Do you want to build a solid foundation for your yoga practice? Do you want to learn an effective way to add more yoga into your daily life? If so, you can learn all of this and more with my Yoga Starter Kit program. This program is your very own yoga toolkit that will help you understand yoga at a deeper level and achieve so much more out of your yoga practice. So be sure to visit ChriskaYoga.com/yoga starter kit to learn more.